This show will be the one where I blame the Bengals' losses and woes pretty much all on Joe Burrow's new haircut. Yeah, I'm doing that. Taylor Lewan and Mark Sanchez join the program. It's Up and Adams breaking down a wild week 2. in here. We've got the YouTube subscriptions. Everybody's ready. Everybody wants Staley to get fired. Come on, guys. It's early, right? I had a notable friend of the show hit me up this morning with the eyeball like, what's girl? What's going on with those Chargers? You might know who that is. If you don't, hit the chat. Maybe I'll put it in there. We appreciate all the subscriptions, guys, over on our YouTube page as we are streaming. We will have Taylor Lewan. We will have Mark Sanchez on the show. Perfect person to talk to about Aaron Rodgers, of course, Zach Wilson. What kind of help do they need after that loss to the Cowboys? I think the score, the Bucs were a little worse than what it was on the actual field. We're going to get into all of it. Bengals started last year 0-2 and 4-4 and finished 12-4. They will be fine, says Jason. Woo! I hope you're okay, and I hope that you're right. And Phil DeRosa saying our Bears are a mess. Well, yeah, I could have told you that. Your Packers lost yesterday, Eric.
They sure did.
How do you feel?
Very mad at Joe Barry. Not at just that D. I mean, what are you going to do?
In those moments, you got to tell yourself, at least I'm not a Bears fan.
Hey, not a Bears fan.
At least that Jordan Love looks great. And look.
6 TDs?
It's not like Aaron Rodgers is out there thriving right now. So Packers fans should be really excited about absolutely everything going on. And you, young lady, how are you feeling about your squad, the Eagles?
Oh, marvelous. I had a stress-free Sunday. We're going into week 3 looking good.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
We got two games tonight. My Saints play tonight. I hope they can do their thing against the Carolina Panthers. And we've got another bout to get into. But week 2 was awesome. So let's dig in. We appreciate the comments. So I'm going to do my thing here. The Dolphins, that's where I want to start. Wow, they pulled off the 24-17 win up in Foxytown. Tua, and I think we were the ones setting the table for Tua, saying he's 4-0. If he gets to 5-0 against Belichick, that's amazing. That is tied with Peyton Manning and Josh Allen for most wins against the Belichick Patriots all time, and that's pretty awesome. So congrats to the Dolphins for doing their thing. But there were even more important, significant developments that we saw from this one when it comes to Miami and Miami's ability to be true contenders in the AFC, guys. And I'm glad that I call them that because the Bengals aren't looking good and the Dolphins are making me look good. Okay, they're making me look good and we like that here on the show. The Patriots' game plan was exactly what we all thought, what Tyreek knew it would be, what everyone thought. Take away the deep ball. And it does say a lot about the respect Bill has, not only for McDaniel, his game planning, and calling and all of that, but it is about Tua, okay? It was a test to see what the Dolphins would do if you take away their most dangerous weapon, and Tua and McDaniel aced the test, guys. They said, if you want to take away our long ball, fine, Bill, stupid Bill. We're just going to pick you apart underneath and run it. They didn't force feed Tyreek downfield. They took exactly what the defense was giving them, and it's easier said than done. It's not super simple for an offense that can be so explosive downfield to sort of have that sort of discipline and execute the way they did. Now, Tua did make some big throws downfield when the opportunity sort of presented itself, like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This beauty to Barrios. What's the Barrios update? No? Girl? It's over?
I think it's over.
With him and Alex Earl?
I think it's over.
Wow, okay, well, at least he caught that ball. At least we're on the street. The focus was more on getting it out, though, than letting the playmakers make plays. So that was nice to see. And we all saw McDaniel. I mean, he committed to the run like never before. The Dolphins were basically 50-50, 31 passes, 30 runs. It was the second time they've been over the 45% run mark with Tua at quarterback. This is perfection right here. It could not have worked better. And, the other one was a blowout with Miami running the clock out late. If the Dolphins can be, guys, this versatile and the defense can continue to play the way it did last night. I mean, they're without their Super Bowl star. They're without their contender. They're without their main piece there, and they still are finding ways to stop the opposing offense. Like, this is a legit Super Bowl contender. And then, should we go to the New England side of this? I don't even know if I want to do it on a Monday. I sort of want to celebrate in all of this, but there is frustration, okay? They're sitting, these Patriots, at Ophir after not like dismal, these were 2 winnable games on the final drive against 2 really good teams. I'll say that. Mac has looked better under Bill O'Brien, okay? That's true, I think, even in short time. This Patriot squad, they're a good football team. So I know there are no moral victories in Foxborough, but I do think the 0-2 start is more about who they played than about anything actually being wrong and something to point on and harp on with the Patriots. And I think they're going to show it next week against the Jets. What a game that'll be, okay? So let's I can't even believe I know who's on the schedule for week 3. But it's the Jets, because I'm paying attention to Zach Wilson and company, who they might bring in to the fold. And we'll, of course, ask Mark Sanchez about that. Guys, get your questions ready for Taylor Lewan. Get them ready for Mr. Sanchez. And in the game that I was looking forward to, sort of more than any other this weekend, the Ravens beat the Bengals 27-24. And there's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have yous, a lot of layers to this, 7-layer queso dip thing that happened last night. So let's dig into it. And let me start with the Ravens side, because I cannot understate what Baltimore did yesterday. No Marcus Williams, no Ronnie Stanley, no Tyler Linderbaum, no Marlon Humphrey, no J.K. Dobbins. Odell leaves the game. I had like the PTSD Super Bowl flashbacks when he's like out of the game and up against the Bengals. And they went into Cincinnati and they beat the reigning division champs anyway. Here's John Harbaugh after the game talking about how all of his guys stepped up to the challenge.
It says a lot about the guys that played. It says that those guys are starting caliber players that played winning football against a great football team in their house. That's what it says, and they deserve it. Geno Stone just got a game ball, and he played great football, and Pat McCarry had a great football game. Look at the way the offensive line played. Offensive line played a great football game. Of course, the corners. We pressed them. We got up there and we pressed them and we played well. They weren't hitting any fades on us. Our guys played fantastic out there on the edges, and it's just really proud of those guys. Really proud of them.
Tyler on the chat saying it was certainly surprising but well-deserved for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I wouldn't say I'm surprised by this, but it was a really special performance from a team that was playing extremely shorthanded. Lamar dropping dime after dime. You heard Harbaugh there talk about everybody on the team, but this was unbelievable. This is as good as he's ever looked, guys. The running backs, they chipped in, they all made plays. And Geno Stone stepped in for Marcus Williams and had a huge red zone interception. Happy that he got that game ball. So if this team can get even close to healthy, who's beating them? Who's beating them if they're healthy? Are they the most dangerous team in the AFC? They have a leg up on everyone, by the way. As of right now, only the Ravens and Dolphins sit at 2-0 in the conference. Everybody else at least has one L already. A division, it's a long season, but for them to do this unhealthy is wild, important, impressive, and everybody's eyes should be open. Now, on the Bengals side of things, I'm very serious this morning about my football, but I am. On the Bengals side, so disappointing, not great. Better in the second half, okay, sure. I try to take some solace in the fact that pretty much everyone else in the conference is either 1-1 or 0-4 right now as well. So, we saw this team go from 0-2 to an AFC North title just last season, and that this offense came alive in the second half. Like I said, Burrow throwing 187 yards, 2 touchdowns after having just 35 yards at halftime. These are positives to take away from the game. I don't think Bengals fans should totally start spiraling yet, and, I know we know what this team is capable of, but I'm getting concerned about the calf. And if you don't have the calf, what do you have? Okay? Seriously, if you don't have the calf, what do you have? They don't have a backup plan. This is it. It's him. He can't. And now they're 0-2, 2 division games. You can't sit him. Now you can't say, hey, sit and get help. You can't. He's out there. On Friday, I talked about how this is starting to seem like something that's going to linger, and that got emphasized and highlighted and circled. And, he says he re-injured it on the play before the touchdown to Higgins. So here's the touchdown to Higgins, and here's Joe talking about the injury after the game. Take a listen.
Yeah, it's tweaked it a little bit again. We'll see where it is tomorrow.
Could you have came back out and played?
Yeah, I was going to come back out. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm not sure how it's going to feel the next couple days. It's pretty sore right now, but no telling how it's going to feel. So I think we're going to take it day by day. Whenever you have these kind of things, it's always ongoing. It's always something that you're managing. Like I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel the next couple days. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't like it. And I think we made a big story about how he's healthiest ever. That going into the season doesn't sound like that's true. It actually sounds like he might be the most banged up to start a season. He's the word managing. We're managing. We're taking it day by day. I don't like it. And I'm glad. One nice thing is he has an extra day to recover next week. He's got Monday Night Football against the Rams. But then you say, oh, shit. Aaron Donald's on that team. That sucks. I don't want that for him either. That's not the best recipe to sort of bounce back. So I'm hoping Joe and the training staff can figure this out because I think it's sort of the only thing. I talked to some people in that building. I heard a lot of, we just have to get our like groove back, our like mojo back. And I'm like, where's the mojo? What do you mean? What? But it's like, is it all Joe? Is Joe the whole beacon? It can't be. You've got other guys in the locker room. You've got to have other guys step up. And like they said they were going to when he injured the calf in training camp. And I fully am blaming the hair at this point. Can we see just, we have a still maybe, probably don't, but the hair is a bit of a problem, okay? I'm gonna bring in Taylor Lewan before we even go. Taylor, we're gonna bring you in and then we're gonna talk to you about a bunch of other stuff, Tennessee included. But I feel like Taylor, and you've kind of got a similar, let me see your hair. Okay, you have a hat on. But you had, yesterday you had like a similar little spiral thing here. A little
the
oinker.
Clark Kent.
Yeah,
The Clark Kent's definitely what people are going for nowadays. I don't know. It's a natural thing. I'll have to call Joe and see what kind of product he uses, but I don't think we need to blame his hair. I think he's going to be all right. And I think the way you just talked about it, you handled it with grace right there, Kay. Because I think a lot of people in Bengals country are really overreacting.
I'm trying.
They're really overreacting.
Well, it's not great, but I'm just going to blame the hair because it's something that's like part of him but not part of him, so I'm not really tearing him apart. But the decision to change the hair, that's where the swag went. I'm hearing from in the building, where's the swag on the squad? Like, well, when you're trying to look like Danny Zuko and meets like Patrick Swayze from The Outsiders, meets Clark Kent, like it's just not the vibe.
Yeah, I did like the camp haircut. To me, and I don't know if this is a nostalgic show for you, but Sean from Boy Meets World.
Sean Hunter.
I mean, he
Sean
had
Hunter.
that. It was just like, what a dream. What a
troubled
dream
teen.
that guy was. And he was crushing it then too. But I think the Bengals, the best part about the early in the season is fans, everybody, they just like to overreact. Just like I overreact about the Cowboys week 1. Like people just overreact and then everything kind of starts to fall into place.
Okay.
And it slowly will, and it will for the Bengals.
We're going to take a short break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Cowboys right off the top, guys. Do not go anywhere. I can't believe we just got a Sean Hunter, played by the great Ryder Strong, by the way. I know everything. Mr. Feeney, Mr. Minkus, I got it covered. We'll be back. Should we go to, what is it called? Chubs?
Chubbies.
Chubbies. Chubbies! All right.
That show's based in my neighborhood.
What is Mr. Lewan's heart out? breakdown of week 2. Marissa just told me that she worked at the original Chubbies that the show Boy Meets World was based off of. Unbelievable. They got into some trouble there. Great jukebox at
Great
that
jukebox.
Chubbies. And we're talking a little Boy Meets World, a little who are the most dangerous teams in the AFC? I mean, this guy that's leading this squad, it's ridiculous. This is so fun. What a good moment. And I'd probably say, I don't know who else is great in the AFC. The Ravens. That's it right now. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's welcome in our guy. The jig is up because we just talked to him at the end of the last segment, but a Pro Bowl left tackle and one half of the podcast, Bussin' with the Boys. Please hello to the man whose stash rivals, I don't even know, only Arthur Smith potentially?
Hey, Arthur Smith stash. And I don't know if we talked about this in the last show, but I do take a little bit of credit for that. Early in camp, he sent me a little picture of that duster when it was kind of like in its newborn phase. It was slowly coming out. And I just told him, hey, brother, that thing looks fantastic. Keep it going.
Okay.
Keep it going. So it looks great on Arthur. A big win for them, too, against the Packers as well.
Man, I don't know that I love that little exchange. The Chia pet really grew over the past couple of weeks. It's incredible. Okay, let's start with the tweet. Okay, here it is. You said it yesterday. You're coming on the show. I want to give you the floor to talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess, as a player and you play for a team in a small media market like the Titans, you look at teams like the Cowboys and there's a level of envy there. It's like, man, we're doing good over here too. 2019, we go to the AFC Championship. What have the Cowboys done for so long? And then they go out and then they dust the Giants the way they do in week 1. And then they play a great Jets defense yesterday. And obviously Aaron Rodgers isn't in. There's going to be a whole lot of, asterisk. People always talk about the asterisk in football, but the team looks so solid. The defense looks incredible. Micah Parsons, I watch him, and it's hard to even think about another player that rivals that. Obviously Aaron Donald, and then J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett. Like, when J.J. was in his prime is like the closest thing I see to Micah Parsons. The guy is truly an alien right now. And I just feel grateful that I didn't have to play against him because the guy looks like an absolute stud. And on the other side of the ball, Dak seems like he has it together. Guy goes under anesthesia, has 15 people work on his leg tattoo, and all of a sudden he's slicing and dicing people left and right. It's just like the team has that power. They have it. They really do have whatever it is. They've got it. And it only took me 2 weeks to figure it out. I went from trashing to now I'm on the bandwagon a little bit with the Cowboys.
Stash man, who in the NFC is playing better than them?
49ers, maybe. I mean, the Niners are playing some good football out there. And then they have a Thursday night game this week against the Giants where, is Saquon Barkley going to play? Is he going to play Saquon Barkley after a big comeback against the Cardinals? I think, San Francisco walking in this thing 3-0, and that's kind of between those two teams. It really is. I mean, Seattle's got a great team. The Lions didn't win. Obviously, they lost in overtime, but that's a good ball club there too. And so, it's really those two teams in the NFC in my mind. And then there's everybody else.
So let's hop over to the AFC where we had strong performances, of course, from the Dolphins, from the Ravens. There's teams looking good. Josh Allen sort of getting a nice bounce back. We love to see it. But the Chiefs got their first win of the season. They played the Jags. We're talking about overreaction. 3 turnovers, 12 penalties. Mahomes, very vocal about the team's performance. There's no reason to overreact right now. But what is the thing about the Chiefs that's concerning to you right now?
Honestly, there's nothing concerning about the Chiefs to me. It is one of those things where we see greatness all the time. And, it happens with LeBron James. It probably happened with Michael Jordan. I was too young at the time to understand that. But when you watch somebody be great for so long, it just becomes so normal to you that it's just whatever. Patrick Mahomes is going to be fine. That team is going to be fine. Travis Kelce coming back. They need to help out their tackles a little bit more, I think, when it comes to the penalties, the holdings. I know I don't want to, put down any tackles because that's a hard thing to be out there on an island and do that. But there's a couple times I saw them yesterday get into a bit of position. They're going to be fine. I think they still are going to control the AFC West. But man, it is easy to look at it and be like, oh man, this team might be blah, blah, blah. They might not be able to become, 3-peat or whatever, 15 Super Bowls or all that. It's like, let's just calm down. We're in week 3. I think those guys have they're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to obviously be able to win another Super Bowl this year.
Last week, I was talking to Andrew Whitworth about Jawan Taylor, and he was like, it's all good. He got away with it. He was lining up too deep. He was leaving early or smiling. He was not getting flagged. He got 5 flags yesterday. Okay,
dude,
the dude got benched for a series. So the officials obviously making it a point of emphasis. What'd you make of that?
it goes kind of back to where I didn't want to soil the boy. And, shame on Witt, by the way. You got to look out for the offensive lineman out there. Shame on him. But it's one of those deals. You watch it, it's when you're leaving early. I don't see any problem with leaving early because if I could say don't leave early, you could pull up any of my film. I'm the first one off the ball every single time. And that is something you have to do. You have to time up the snap and rip it. But the shaking the leg during motions, like that's obviously a penalty right there. And then 5 penalties yesterday, getting benched a little bit. There's just got to be right now. It's up to the Chiefs coaching staff. It's up to Andy Reid and the rest of those guys to now throw a couple chips in there. Help them understand, hey, when a chip is coming, you don't have to fly up out of there. You can kind of be a little more patient with your set because you know that speed rusher on the edge is not going to be there, and work that confidence back in. Because being a guy that's had a couple bad games, we all have bad games when you play in the NFL. That confidence is when that goes, it's very hard to get back, and you need sometimes those coaches to help you out a little bit. And you help Taylor out a little bit. I think he's going to be all right. But yeah, it's hard. Shame on Witt.
You know
I'm going to have to text him.
You're saying it's up to the coaches and this is bad on the refs to me. How do you let him, they let him do it for so long and then totally change the way they enforced it to expect him. I just don't like that. I think the refs deserve some blame here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you, Kay. The refs always deserve a little bit of blame. They need to stay out of it as much as possible. But you can't, if you're doing something wrong and you're getting away with it, that's fine. But if you're doing something wrong and everyone's talking about it, eventually they're going to have to switch it up on you. And I think that's what we saw happen yesterday. Because you watch that Thursday night game with the Lions and it's like, you see it over and over again. As an offensive lineman, I'm sitting there like, oh, woof, dude, you got to figure that out before they start getting you. And sure enough, they go to get him this week.
Everyone's saying Cowboys are scary until the playoffs. Cowboys' next 2 games, Cardinals, Patriots, 4-0 for sure. So we'll see about those Cowboys. I want to ask you about a team that you know better than anybody. It's your Tennessee Titans, okay? They got a much-needed win over the Chargers. They snapped an 8-game losing streak. Sounds like they needed you out there. I'm just saying, Ryan Tannehill, very solid, bouncing back from a very rough week 1. So the chatter around Tannehill got kind of loud last week. What does this win mean for your Titans?
I think Titans are going to tighten, man. I think anytime the best thing to happen to the Titans is them being underdogs. If you say the Titans aren't going to win, they're going to be outgunned, this offense is going to go crazy, the defense is going to stop Derrick Henry, that's when all of a sudden the Titans are going to turn around and win the game. And I think the NFL actually tweeted something about that yesterday. Like, since 2018, no one's had more underdog wins than Mike Vrabel. And that just shows the type of coaching. I want to give a quick shout out to Tim Kelly, though, because I think, week 1 against the Saints, they had a tough time getting the ball moving, get it going. Yeah, Tannehill looked like he was seeing ghosts out there, left, right, and center with 3 picks. You can say it. You can say it now because he had a great game yesterday. But even when they're in the red zone and he has the read option, or he reads the end at the end of line of scrimmage, and then he pulls it and he's got Derrick Henry out wide for the pitch just in case he ends up running it in. That's the kind of play calling, the kind of ingenuity that Tim Kelly is bringing to the table that he did at Houston with Deshaun Watson. I think that guy is a future head coach. I think he's an absolute stud. I did play with his brother, and I just think the Kelly family, they're all time, man. They're all time, and he's going to get them going where they need to go.
I love the shout out there on the Chargers side of things, and people in our chat loving you, by the way, loving Taylor Lewan, saying, how bad is the Chargers defense? It's the real issue. Now, I have a stat that I saw this morning, because they lose again, devastating fashion. I support them. But listen to this, Taylor. They're the 33rd team in the Super Bowl era with over 50 points and 0 turnovers through 2 games. They are the only team to start 0-2, okay, in that situation. Brandon Staley taking a lot of criticism. The defense taking a lot of criticism. What is the problem, the biggest hang-up with this Chargers squad?
Yeah, I could sit here and I could be like, this is the issue and this is what you got to fix. It's so hard to say because there's so much talent, right? Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, like they've got dudes on defense. So it's so appalling to me why the stats don't reflect the talent. And I think, I wish I could just sit there and give you an answer because that's why I'm on this show, is to give you opinions and people react and then we get clicks and that's the game we play. But to be honest with you, I just do not know why the Chargers are having that type of struggle. But once again, here we are, week 3, going into week 3 of the NFL season. It's like no reason to overreact if you're a Chargers fan. You're in a really tough division, the AFC West, but you have an absolute gunslinger at quarterback. You might have to score more points. Like it's a team sport. There's 3 phases of the game. So, I might have to bring in Will Compton one of these days to talk about defense because I don't know what they need to do better on.
Do you think there's legitimacy to the coaching stuff? Because people, and are they in such a window where they're so talented, like you're saying, putting up so many points that, like, would you put it past them to look at making a change in season? Would that be crazy?
A coaching staff? You look at any coach, you look at any team, this league is waiting for nobody. It's either results or you're out. So, am I going to say they're going to go for a coach's job? That'd be ridiculous and inappropriate for me to even talk about. But in this league, if you don't have results, you get cut. I've been cut. Everybody who's played in the NFL, except for 1 or 2, aliens, you get cut and you end up not being able to do it. Same thing goes with coaching. If you just can't get your boys to play, you're gonna get let go. I think 2 weeks in the NFL season is no time to be freaking out. We start going 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, or 0-5. Then it's like, oh man, now we need to talk about something. We need to look at everything. Get the crystal ball, get the Ouija board out, start looking at start the spirits and figure that whole deal.
It's really well said. I thought I always think like they're so aggressive, and I thought that the aggressiveness wasn't there, and it was almost like they were content kicking the field goal to go into overtime.
Yeah.
I, as a fan, hated seeing that, and I just feel like some of the timeouts, the management of those, wasn't my favorite. So hopefully they can get right. It's early. We're not overreacting on a Monday. I do want to ask you about the turf, though, because before we move past this game, it was the Titans' first game on their new field, which has been changed weirdly, from grass to turf. So in the midst of this debate and all of these players coming and talking about how turf fields should be no more, where do you come out on this situation?
It's so hard to say because, it's an interesting thought process because when you're in high school, like if you go all the way back to high school ball, like you go play a high school with turf field, you're like, this is awesome. They got money. This is sick. And then you get to college. I played at University of Michigan where it's turf field, and I never had an issue on that at all. Then you get to the NFL, you get a little older, right? Your joints start hurting. You start to realize the massive differences between being on turf one day and being on grass the next. And, as even 2-3 years in the league, it would start to rain outside, and you can see the older vets kind of grumbling about, man, I don't want to go in the turf. I don't want to go indoors. And you kind of think, man, what are they all worried about? And then as you get older, you start to realize like they are absolutely right in what they're saying is when you play on turf the next day, whether you're injured or not, you feel it more in your ankles, you feel it more in your knees, you feel it more in your hips. It is definitely, it takes a greater toll on your body. Someone who's been an absolute force, the front lines of fighting for anti-turf is David Bakhtiari, and I think he's got some really good points.
Yeah.
It's really one of those things that's cut and dry. Look at the stats. If the stats say that turf is not good for players and there's more injuries on turf, non-contact injuries on turf, then what are we worried about here? If you're trying to protect your assets as owners, and I think it was like $12 million league-wide, which you break that up between 32 teams. I'm not a mathematician, but that doesn't seem like a lot of money for a bunch of billionaires. You pop that out real quick. Look what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of players that are much more healthy, better product on the field, which in turn gets us to the game of more views, of more people watching, seeing their favorite player play. And so I think it's just something maybe you don't do right now, but in the offseason, take a real big look at. And if it makes sense, it can make sense for both sides. If the players want it and you get to keep the players in the field, it's good for the owners. Why not do it?
Yeah, the Bakhtiari thing I actually wasn't super aware of, that he was, and then LaFleur had to come out and sort of talk about it, but didn't really talk about it. So I don't know if it's like rumors, rumblings that he's not. I mean, he wasn't out there on the turf in Atlanta, but you have to take a stand when it comes to your body.
Yeah, but if you think about LaFleur saying something, not saying about it, like people need to be aware of the game within the game when it comes to the NFL. So Bakhtiari, as a player, well-spoken, very well-paid, very talented individual, goes and says, turf's bad. Then the head coach comes out, and he's now got to comment on what one of his players has said. But he's also hired by ownership. So if he says anything negative about turf, then he's making the owners look bad. And so it's like this game, this convoluted web that we're all weaved in, trying to, keep everybody happy, but at the same time not hurt anyone's feelings. And, it is one of those deals where you're not going to get your solution now in the fall. You're not going to get your solution until till March, probably, when they go on those little meetings where all the owners and coaches get to go to their extravagant vacations where they spend 3 days talking about rule changes that everyone's going to get pissed about, right? Like, that's what's going to happen.
It's like the
And then
orange juice, the waffle maker, like everyone's,
right.
and then they sit down and they're like, let's talk turf. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Bottomless mimosas.
Yeah,
So
families at the pool.
Kickoff this year. Yeah.
The lanyards.
No more cutting for offensive linemen. They're laughing in the corner. It's just, it is what it turns into.
It's so true. It's so true, but we love it. We love being part of the convoluted web that is the NFL. All right, let's get through a couple more here. I know you have a heart out here. I want to ask you one more. Do you want to talk? What would you rather talk about, Bears, or would you rather talk about? We're going to talk about the Bears because hold on. This is the one thing we need to talk about. Justin Fields adds to an incredible list here. Ohio State alum are 0-6 so far this NFL season. Fields, Burrow, Stroud, all 0-2.
Yeah, first off, let's just talk about Burrow real quick. Let's take him completely out of the Ohio State game. That's done. We're I can't stand that Ohio State fans are like, that's our guy, right? That's our guy. It's like, no. He transferred. He won a national championship at LSU. Let's move on. And I got this. I was hoping we stay away from the Bears because I wanted to keep it positive today. But man, the weird optimism of Bear fans going into this season and having the number 1 overall pick, it's tough. Like, I saw a clip on Twitter. I don't know if this is real. This literally could have been AI generated of it was side by side. It was Kirk Cousins talking about him throwing a ball. And if he just would have led Justin Jefferson a little bit more, he would have been able to catch it in stride and score. They would have won. And then there was another clip of we were just talking about Bears court. Hurts. Yeah. Not Hurts.
Field.
Right? Fields, excuse me. Fields saying, be like, yeah, play calling, coaching, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if that's real, we got to keep a level of accountability, brother. Like, it's a double-edged sword when you're the quarterback. When you're the quarterback, when losing happens, you have to put it all on your shoulders.
But who is it? But I don't want the convoluted. I want the Taylor. This is 12 consecutive wins for the Bears. Losses. 12 consecutive losses. Is it Justin Fields or is it the handling of Justin Fields? Which one's the problem?
See, I see what you're doing. I don't know. It's got to be. It's not just Justin Fields, because this is the greatest team sport the world has ever seen. 11 people on offense, 11 people on defense, and then special teams for about 20% of the plays. And it's everybody. If your offense isn't playing great, then it's up to your defense and your special teams to step up, and vice versa in those situations. As the quarterback, is there more pressure on you? Yeah. So Justin Fields, unfortunately, buddy, he's got to play better so they win more games. And then from a coaching standpoint, put your players in the best position possible. Use their strengths and amplify those strengths. If Fields isn't throwing it well, run it. The guy has outstanding athletic ability. Do some more RPOs. Try to influence that backside linebacker a little bit. Cut a slant across the middle. If it's there, throw it. If it's not, hand it off. If the DN pinches, then you run it around the corner. There's a whole this game, this beautiful game of chess. It's such an amazing game. So it's never just one person. It never is. And I hate the fact that I had to give you this PC answer. But
it isn't a good answer.
I came in way too hot.
I
came in way too hot week 1, being like, Cowboys.
I texted you. I texted my producer, and I go, we kind of are asking him hard questions. Like, these are kind of shit questions to ask him. I said that, I'm like, and he goes, no, he's handling it really well. I'm like, I'm like, turf versus, like, this is like, I'm asking you such crap questions. I'm like, throw your boy Bakhtiari under the bus. Tell me what's really going on. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. But on your way out, we'll make it easy. I know we ran over time, and so I love you and appreciate you. Give me just who's winning tonight. New Orleans, Carolina?
I got New Orleans on that. I think Derek Carr is going to have a hell of a game. I think they're going to win. They're going to cover as well.
And talk to me about Browns Steelers. It's in Pittsburgh. Do the Steelers avoid going 0-2?
See, that's the biggest question of the day for me. I think Cleveland, I'm not 100% sold on them. I do have Deshaun Watson in my fantasy league, so I hope he goes off. But Mike Tomlin, that coaching staff, you want to talk about a hell of a coaching staff, a hell of a coach that puts their guys in great positions. Mike Tomlin does that. It's tough for them to go 0-2 at home. I'm going to say they go. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one, but it makes me nervous. If you're a betting person, I would put the bets down and just enjoy the game in that one. Enjoy the game and enjoy being a Cowboys fan, at least for the next week. We've got Taylor Lewan. For the next week. Check out Bussin' with the Boys. You were the best. Thank you. Tough questions. We won't do that again. We'll see you. It'll be all cupcakes next time. I mean, those are some hard questions. Yeah, but he did it well. I thought he was going to dig into the Ohio State quarterback more, but it's okay. We'll be back after this. We've got Mark Sanchez on the show, and we'll talk about the largest comeback in Giants franchise history. Our boy, baby!
Taylor Lewan was on the show. Mark Sanchez joining us. He's been doing those media hits. He's been all over the place, Mark Sanchez. Can't wait to talk to him. I've never met him, I don't think.
Really?
Maybe at a Super Bowl, but I don't think so. Okay, but right now, this is what you're looking at. New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off. NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. You want to watch the Bengals lose again? You're not going to get that everywhere. You can only get that on Sunday Ticket with YouTube and FanDuel. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Listen, there were a lot of nice moments around the league. If you have the Sunday Ticket and you use this promo, you got to see some of them. But let's dig into some of the moments that I really haven't gotten to dig into yet because I was too busy crying about the Bengals and then talking to Taylor Lewan about his he gave no answers today, you guys. He gave no answers today. He's just convoluted, I take both sides. You know, it's a really hard question because the NFL is a tough place. Taylor! We're going to work on that. Now, let's go to this game. On to the desert, guys. This was looking like a blowout situation turned absolute thriller. They write movies about this kind of stuff, okay? This is the Rod Tidwell-ness of the NFL. The Giants came all the way back after getting shut out in the first half, and I'm sitting there like praying the rosary saying, we got Daniel Jones on every Tuesday. How's this going to go? Me and Eric are like, what are we going to talk to him about if he loses again? And then instead, I mean, they were trailing 28-7 with under 4 minutes to go in the third. The drama, the fireworks, Mary Magdalene and the beads on my rosary. They get the win over the Cardinals, okay? Daniel Jones, brilliant in the second half. He threw this touchdown to Isaiah Hodgins, tying things up late in the fourth. And the Giants pulled off their biggest comeback since, guys, 1949.
Oh, my God.
Post-World War II vibes, okay? Let me put this into perspective, how good Daniel was in the second half. He barely missed after halftime. He went 17 for 21 for 259 yards, ran for 58 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and barely missed a perfect passer rating at a baby. Okay, it was a comeback for the ages and one that, I mean, this saves the Giants season. I was like, if you lose again, this is catastrophe. So that's amazing, and I loved it, and he gets an attaboy for me, and we will talk to him live on the show tomorrow. Right after that finish, by the way. I mean, Commanders and Broncos were like, hold my beer, desert. Washington overcomes a 21-3 deficit. Y'all know I love Sean Payton. Y'all know this is hard for me to even talk about, but the Commanders, come on. Ridiculous Hail Mary beating Denver 35-33 in Mile High. I always think it's like an underrated crap place to play for opposing teams. They're making noise with their feet. They're doing it all. Like it's a loud, hostile place. The altitude, I can't believe it. And Broncos' 2-point conversion attempt, we'll get into that maybe with Mark. This was a big-time statement game for Sam Howell, our boy. Howell! Defense didn't play up to standard. He's facing a dominant defense on the other side, and he led this offense on 6 scoring drives on the day. Oh, my God. Completely unfazed by the hole they were in, finishing 299 and 2 touchdowns. Vance Joseph, what is going on? Brian Robinson, incredible, punching in 2 scores as well. Sam Howell is for real. I'm saying it again. And everyone thought it was a cute storyline. I went down there and I met him. We're talking about Chick-fil-A and like, oh, he's so great. Sam Howell's for real. What did you want, Commanders fans? Do we have our quarterback? Guess what you do. Could there be a more optimistic start to this new chapter for them? No? And are they going to push for a playoff spot in the NFC? Yeah, they are. Let's go to Detroit for the second year in a row, guys. The Seahawks and Lions gave up as fun of a game as you could possibly imagine, okay? Seattle pulls it off, 37-31, an overtime game. I don't need overtime games the regular season, guys, and especially not early. It's too much for me, too much going on a Sunday, but we had it happen. 178 points scored over the last 2 meetings between these teams. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. And I'm more hyped for the Seahawks out of this one than troubled by anything I saw from the Lions, okay? Goff looked awesome outside of the pick 6. They fought hard. Seattle was just better on the day, okay? They avoid the 0-2 hole, which is nice. They look exactly the way we thought they would coming into the year. Really impressive win. And if we get this matchup again next year, I'm telling schedule makers right now, Mike North, friends of the show, Charlotte Carey, they put the schedule together for the NFL. Put this freaking game in primetime. I've had enough. Put this game in primetime. Make this the Thanksgiving game.
Oh.
The Thanksgiving game! Let's do it. All right, we're going to take a short break here because we have Mark Sanchez on the show. And I think Mark probably likes, I just give love to quarterbacks. I did it for Daniel Jones, Sam Howell. Don't you wish I was covering you when you were in the league, Mark? Come on, we've got Mark Sanchez on the show to talk a little Jets, a little Giants. We got it.
That's my only regret.
next guest and our Tuesday guest. Oh, it's part of the FanDuel family. There's Debo dapping it up with Mr. Sanchez at SoFi yesterday. You love to see it. Please welcome the guy who quarterbacked 10 seasons in the NFL for the Jets, the Eagles, the Cowboys, Washington, and more. And now he's tweeting that he's undefeated in the broadcast booth, entered into his third season as a Fox NFL analyst. Mark Sanchez, you're killing it.
Well, that was just my, slick little comment to somebody saying, hey, are the Jets going to call you to come back? And I was like, hell no, they ain't calling me.
Why not? Are you sure Woody doesn't have you on speed dial? Come on.
No, see, like mornings like today, we have a game yesterday. I don't need a massage today. I'm feeling good. I can just get up and go to work and have a ball, go pick up my little man from school, and we're rolling. Those days are gone, and I'm really enjoying this next chapter of my life. And, you get to stay close enough to it. You saw there on the field. But, just trying to avoid the dad bod. We got to loosen up those pants a little bit. Scary.
I'm sure it is, especially sitting in those broadcast booths where they're like, hey, you want some nachos? Hey, you want some this? And you're like, shit, what am I doing? Okay, so you're not going back to the NFL. That's case closed. That's done. Tell me, as you're in your third year, it feels like you've sort of hit your stride a little bit. What is really clicking for you? Because I really do mean it. You're crushing it for Fox.
Oh, I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm not quite there yet. I think there's still plenty of room to grow like anything. But, I really felt last year, well, let me start with this. I feel like I'm very fortunate to have the same group with us, and you're showing everybody there. So Eric Billigmeyer's on the left, but most importantly is your partner next to you, and that's Kevin Kugler. He's been awesome for me and such a pro. I felt like in London last year is where we really took some strides together, and both of us were pretty nervous because that was our first, national game together. And, it was interesting because I have had these experiences as a player of playing on these huge stages, and you just run out of the tunnel and get the ball from the center and start playing the game. You're nervous and you're anxious, but you just want the game to happen because you're so prepared and so ready. And so I likened that experience to a championship game or a playoff game or a big rivalry game in the NFL as a player. And I was ready. I felt like I was ready to go. And Kevin, he hadn't been on a stage quite that big before, so he was a little tight, so I'm massaging his shoulders a little bit, almost like a cut man in boxing, talking to him like, come on, champ, we got this, champ. We put in the work, baby. It's time to let him know. It's time to let it show, just messing with him. Stuff I've heard from other players, to get me excited as a rookie and make sure I'm nice and calm. And after that, he knocked that game out of the park. He was like freaking John Stockton, Magic Johnson, just set me up
Stockton
left and right.
In the short shorts. Gotta love that callback by you.
He's more John Stockton than Magic Johnson. I should have said Magic.
John Stockton was like my favorite player back in those days, outside of Michael Jordan, but that's for another day. Okay, so you went from getting massages to giving massages, is what it sounds like. That's right. And I'm wishing you the full circle luck. Yeah. And I like that you're saying there's so much more, and there is, and there's a lot of movement for you to be able to work yourself up into. But as far as the games yesterday, like you had the best seat in the house calling that Niners-Rams one. SoFi painted red with fans. People were texting me, no surprise here, Niners fans took over and took care of business 30-23. I cannot get enough of Brock Purdy, and I can't get enough of telling everybody who doubted him to shut up. So what did you see out of him that impressed you the most?
Well, it's so funny. There was remember the song like 10 years ago, All I Do Is Win, 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 no matter what?
I still
remember
play it all the time.
Khaled? Yeah. I mean, that's a banger now. One of my favorites, okay? But you got to understand, it's DJ Khaled, and he's steady. You know exactly what you're going to get every time. Major key alert, another one, we the best, right? It's across the board. We know what we're going to get. That's the way I feel Brock Purdy is. Oh, but by the way, don't forget now, don't sleep on the ensemble cast. T-Pain, Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, you got Rick Ross. I'm sorry. Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, you got George Kittle, you got Juszczyk, and don't forget about the defense. It's an ensemble cast wherever you look. 3 levels of the defense. When you can name 3 or 4 D linemen on a defensive attack that you're about to play, that's a problem. That's a problem. And when one of them's the highest paid player, non-quarterback of all time, another very big problem. Even if he doesn't get the numbers, he's attracting the attention. And we're talking about Nick Bosa, you got to have presence on that guy. You got to have tight ends chip him. You got to have running backs try and take a piece of his ribs on their way out to their check down routes. So it's a tough one playing these guys. They just wear you down to the nubs. And then as soon as you make a mistake, they capitalize and they're all over you. It is, it's like a wild pack of hyenas on defense, and that offense is explosive. it's fun to watch. And I mean, you got to give the Rams credit though. They hung with them.
No cup.
At the start of the year, they trotted out 11 rookies on the field. Everybody thought these guys were going to tank. You know, they got no chance. Stafford's too old, this and that. Stafford's been dealing. And those 2 interceptions, one of them definitely not his fault. The second one, I think Van Jefferson could have came a little friendlier on the route. Obviously, I'll defend the quarterback till I die. But, you know, those kind of things are important. And the point is, suffice to say, you slip up on a minor detail, the 49ers make you pay. And they're just built. They're built to last. They're built to wear you down. And they're impressive.
They're impressive. I mean, they're 1-1 in the NFC West without the Cooper Kupp. Puka's out there doing his thing. It was such a fun.
Puka's balling, man.
Puka's crazy good. I was like, this is the worst roster I've seen in my life. This Rams roster. But no, I said that. And then I quickly, mea culpa, Stafford, you are dealing. You are dealing out there after week 1. And then they did it in week 2, but up against Purdy, that's got to be hard. Now, I was like, my whole crew, we have like a group text going, audibly laughing at some of the things that were going on during this game yesterday. Take a listen to, take a listen to this. Let's take a listen to this, Jeb.
Uh-oh.
Well, here comes the corner cap by number 7, Javarius Ward, and Matthew Stafford with the little stanky leg move. The old guy still got it. Watch. Whoop, whoop.
There was that. There was no soup for you, Kevin.
You give the leg, and then you take it away. Thank you, leg.
And then no soup for you, Kevin. The Kelly Slater, Christian McCaffrey comp was one of them, too. We were, making a list. We were all crying. Is this like, I worked with Nate Burleson for a long time, and he had that gift of injecting fun, metaphors, pop culture, and all of that. Do you prepare them? Do you come up with them on the fly? And do you have any idea how much energizing it is to listen to as a fan?
Well, that's the way I think, like, in general, the way I see the world. I just try and relate things to each other, and the way it kind of hits my brain to learn, whether it's a playbook way back in the day and a buzzword from a playbook that reminds me of something. Think of like Slumdog Millionaire. Like every answer he has is because of a past life experience, and like why he knows, what a Colt 45 or a Smith & Wesson gun is. Like, because he saw it, because his brother had that kind of gun, whatever. So I try and get there in my brain. The hardest part is like eliminating the stuff that I only know, or like somebody close to me would know, and not saying it on the broadcast, because everybody'd be like, what? Like, not everybody understands what's going on in your weird brain all the time. So I try and use the ones that are, most common. And most of those just come up on the spot. Sometimes when you're watching tape during the week, you try and fit something in, or if there's like a pop culture thing that's going on, or a current events thing that's going on that's obviously safe enough to say on a broadcast, you let those ones fly. Like, the week before I did a Burning Man reference, because I said, if any of these offenses are ever stuck in the mud, like that's just a layup, And so the Rams were sputtering on offense. I said, God, these guys look like they're stuck in the mud, man. Shout out Burning Man 2023. And Kevin about lost it. Next to me, he had to hit the mute button, and he started laughing.
It just takes ease, but usually that comes with lots and lots of reps. And the truth is, you don't get tons of those, because there's the value. Like, every game is so precious. There's so few of them. So, like,
Correct.
When I feel very comfortable on camera, because I've done it hours and hours and hours every day for a really long time. But it really just takes being comfortable and making it conversational. I don't know why it's hard, but it is.
Yeah,
and it's high stakes
reps.
and all of that.
It's reps. You're right.
Yeah. Speaking of reps, Zach Wilson got some reps up against Micah Parsons.
Ooh.
Didn't go too well. I know you were working yesterday, but 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know that you're a fan of his. It's out there. You're a mentor, of course, to young quarterbacks. What did you make of the performance? And then we'll get to Aaron Rodgers quickly.
Well, once again, I think it's one of those issues where you kind of run into a buzzsaw. You're going to get up against one of the biggest or toughest defenses in the league this year. You saw it in week 1. You're about to see it in week 2. So you just lost your star player and your star quarterback, and now you're kind of thrust back into the spotlight. You get the reps this week. You didn't get them last week. There's a lot going on in his world. Not to make excuses, and bottom line, play in this position, you sign up for everything. And the bottom line to that is nobody cares. The good, the bad, the ugly. That's the way it goes. At the end of the day, you got the ball in your hands. You make the decision. You let it go. Nothing happens till you say hike, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's watching in the stands, at home, up front. everybody waits for you to say go. So the onus is on you to take care of that football, because when you hold the football and make a decision with the football, you hold the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of the entire organization in your hands. So when you give it to the other team, you're going to have problems. Now, not just in the game, but in general, people are going to be talking about it. So I thought some of the ones that are so easy to clean up for him are going to be these reps versus zone coverage. And I think, you know, he throws one to the back, checking down to his left. It's at the bottom of the screen on the telecast. But when he throws this ball, the halfback's starting to slow down because he knows there's defenders in front of him. And the bottom line to this deal is, in zone, you find open windows and you sit down, reveal yourself to the quarterback, give him your numbers and hands and eyes. Okay, that's the body language I'm looking for. And you dot him with the ball. It means you put it right on his sternum. Or if you're going to give him an edge, that means if I hit you on this side, turn that way for me.
Got it.
He's throwing this ball in front of the guy, expecting like a man-to-man response, and he throws it right to the corner, and there goes Stephon Diggs going the other way. It's like a boomerang ball. You're like, whoa, what just happened? So little ones like that, I think he can really clean up.
It's well said. I think we just have a couple seconds with you, so I just want to say thank you, Mark Sanchez, for coming on. You got to come back. We got to talk about Rodgers. We had Tyreek Hill saying that New England fans are the worst in the NFL. Are they?
Well, that's not news. That's not news.
Mic drop.
That's been going on in every sport for years. Sorry.
No, Mark, you're so great. I'm so sorry. No, I would love to keep you on forever.
No worries.
Hey, you're killing
Let me
it.
know. We'll do it again.
Yeah, let's do it in person or something. That'd be fun.
Awesome. Appreciate
Bye, Mark.
it.
Go get your kid from school. It's so cute. I love it.
Let's go, baby.